I do apologize for the dark, but I promise we are almost there. Pesky Zubat are everywhere these days, but it's not a problem for professional researchers like ourselves, eh? Ah, here we are. The mysterious blue crystal caves. Absolutely breathtaking, aren't they? Yes, I remember my first time seeing them as if it were yesterday. Many scientists only dream of coming here to study the strange phenomenon that are occurring within these caves. I myself wonder, what draws so many Pokemon here, and why prolonged exposure to these blue crystals cause genetic mutations? We can only stay for so long, you see, so let's hurry along and— Oh! What's this then? Wonderful! It's a Hoot-Hoot! Hoot-Hoot were among the first to be discovered here. As you can see, they are quite plentiful, and we suspect they were drawn here from Johto by the intense power emanating from the crystals themselves. Surely you felt it too. Rather than being normal and flying, their DNA has been genetically altered, or corrupted as I like to call it, to more resemble pure steel. You see, acting more like a clock than an owl, Hoot-Hoot hops along the ground using a piston. No longer can it fly. Many locals in the area keep one around the house for easy timekeeping. And look at this! Hoot-Hoot, corrupted by the caves, evolve into this new form of Noctowl. They are quite amusing to watch, their eyes ticking and talking back and forth as they possess an exceptional sense of time. We believe they do possess the ability to fly, but they prefer to keep their gears and inner mechanisms covered with their steel wings. Quick! Watch out above you! That was close. I don't think that Grandfeather saw us. What's that you say? Oh yes! Noctowl, corrupted by the blue crystals, are able to evolve. Grandfeather is a master of keeping time, using its pendulum tail to swing back and forth as time passes. This proud Pokemon never lands on the ground, but can sometimes be seen roosting in high trees at night, although it's a very rare occurrence, as they don't like to leave the caves for too long. This Pokemon is an amazing hunter though, so it's often feared by others. Speaking of which, let's head deeper into the caves before this one spots us. So this is my take on a regional variant line of Hoot-Hoot. I always thought the idea of Hoot-Hoot being an alarm clock or a cuckoo clock or something like that was really cool, which gave me the whole idea for a whole cave system where Pokemon come and are corrupted on a genetic level. And that led to Hoot-Hoot was the first of my ideas. It actually spawned from me drawing Hoot-Hoot's face and then just flipping it upside down, and that made it look like a clock, and that just gave me the whole idea. It just works that the Pokédex entry for Hoot-Hoot actually talks about it having a really good sense of time and already being kind of like a clock itself. So then I just ran with the idea, gave it a piston, and turned it into hopping, you know. And the hardest part of this line was actually Noctowl. It's still not the best idea for me, and it could use a lot of workshopping, but I always pictured it as one of those like cat clocks with the eyes that swing back and forth. And I gave it the little pendulums that you see on grandfather clocks hanging from the mustache. Of course, the arrow, the minute and hour hands from the Hoot-Hoot then turned into the mustache, which then turned into the beard for Grandfeather. And I actually really like Grandfeather. I thought it was a really cool idea to do a grandfather clock. And of course, the name Grandfeather is grandfather, you know, for the clock, feather for bird. And it's funny because I actually realized that F-E, I capitalized the F because the atomic symbol, capital F, lowercase e, actually stands for iron, which is used to make steel. So I thought that was actually a really cool idea. And of course, you got like the really intricate detail with the eyes being an intricate gear system, the pendulum tail, and the talons that you usually, like the golden talons that you usually see on a grandfather clock and things like that. So I really like this design, and I hope you guys do too. This is one of my favorite places to visit. The calm sounds of trickling water mixed with the cool air always helps me to relax. Oh good, we can see a Poliwag from here. Along the shores of the mysterious blue crystal caves, Poliwag have been transformed, as you can see. The rough waters have polished and hardened Poliwag's stomach to be a mirror-like surface. It uses its tail to conceal the mirror until an opponent ventures too close. Also an expert in mirror move and reflect, light screen and the like. It's incredible to watch them. They tend to keep to themselves, but every once in a while, you'll have a curious one sneak up behind you for a rightful scare. Let's keep looking to see if we can find... Yes! Right there! A Poliwhirl! See how it leaps out of the water? Here in the blue crystal caves, Poliwhirl are much better suited for jumping and swimming with extraordinary back legs. While it can punch and fight, it prefers to keep the mirror on its stomach concealed until the time is right. I don't think I've mentioned it yet, but the Poliwag line here is water and steel, much like the mirror on their stomachs. Oh, what's this? I can't believe it! We get to see a Poliwhirl evolve right before our eyes! Absolutely incredible, isn't it? The blue crystal cave variant of Poliwhirl naturally evolved into Politoed, or at least a corrupted version, as you can see. This enormous frog-like Pokemon is a skilled hunter both in water and on land, capable of huge leaps and, of course, its extra long and sticky tongue. No worries though, they are most often laid back and playful. As much as I'd love to stay and watch, we must continue further. There's something I really think you'll enjoy. So for the Poliwag line, I always thought the beta sprite for Politoed was always really cool, and I wanted to do something like that because they made it look more frog-like than a weird circle human thing. So I decided to take the circle emblem and turn it into a mirror. And from there, I just kind of gave it legs and fleshed out the story a bit of how they might use that. And I actually kind of like the result. They were one of the first ones I drew, so things look a little bit rough, but I still like them overall. I know it's quite dark in here as well, but look up to the ceiling. The small lights you see are actually large groups of glorm hanging from the ceiling. Unknown to other regions, this glowworm Pokemon display gender dimorphism, that is to say, the male and female look different, the male of course being the most common. Using a weak electric charge, they cling to the ceiling and glow using static electricity. The head dressings you see are a combination of silk and spit. If you listen closely, you can hear the crackle of electricity being emitted by Empress, the queen. Empress is the evolved form of female glorm. Only one female glorm per colony is allowed to evolve. The spit forms a type of crown, and it is much more electrically charged, causing the larva to grow. Empress uses this electricity to send impulses to command its colony. And speaking of colony, the much more common male glorm evolved to grow wings in order to better assist the Empress of their colony. They lose the electric charge upon evolution, but they grow mustache-like antennae to better feel the impulses sent out by Empress. We've called them Natidae. So Glorm, Natidae, and Empress are all based on the glowworm. And what I found in my research of wanting to do a glowworm Pokemon is that glowworms actually are separated into two completely different insects. So the regular glowworm that you see hanging in ceilings and things glows, and it's only really a larval stage that way. But some get really large and fat, and that's what gave me the idea for Empress, because it's only the females that do that, and most males of the species are actually a form of, I think it's like a fungus gnat. So I had the idea to make the males Natidae, because I really wanted to call it Nat Daddy, but for obvious reasons I couldn't do that, so Natidae almost sounds like Nat Daddy, so I was very happy with that. Of course, Glorm being glowworm combined to be Glorm, Empress being Empress and Amp as in electricity, and Natidae is actually Nat from their original animal inspiration, and today is actually the ending of the Phosphidae, or something like that. I might be getting that wrong, of the actual bug that it's based on, which is a lightning bug, mixed with like I said, a fungus gnat. And I just thought they were really cool with the whiskers and everything, and it actually really worked out well to like pick up electricity and things like that for lore reasons. And I really like this. They're kind of crazy cool. It was a pain in the butt to draw them, but I actually like them in the end result. And I learned something new, so that's always a plus. I do hope you're enjoying your first expedition into these caves. We've been very lucky so far to see all it has to offer. Well, would you look at that? A moving boulder! Only joking, it's a boulder dash. A while back, scientists discovered a strange hair-growing rock Pokemon. Boulder Dash are solitary creatures that don't take well to intruders, but they are best recognized by their blue shoes and rocky bow tie. I love the little fellas. What's even more interesting is how they evolve. You see, once Boulder Dash ages to a point, the outer rock face cracks and a mysterious ghost-like mist leaks out. The mist seems to take over the empty rock shell and aggressively guards the surrounding area. People are advised to stay far away from Bouldergeist, as we've come to call it. Quite strange, I know, but nothing in this system of caves could be called normal, I suppose. Now let's keep moving. So the inspiration for a lot of the Pokemon I draw, or Fakemon if you prefer, is just using unused type combinations. One of which I always thought would be kind of cool would be Rock Normal and Rock Ghost. So I figured I'd go ahead and get them both taken care of all at once. And I thought a lot about what would be a Rock Normal type be even? Normal's usually a lot of fluffy, furry animals, and Rock is just the complete opposite of that. So I looked online and I said, hair on a rock. And while there are plenty of pictures of the celebrity, if you type hair growing on a rock, you can see there is a type of rock in, I think it's Japan, that actually grows a type of algae that just looks like a wispy old man hair. And I was like, that's perfect. I love it. So that was the inspiration for Boulder Dash. And I even thought about it, I gave him the blue bow tie and the blue shoes to look kind of like an older man with the blue Crystal Cave aesthetic, And I even thought Boulder Dash comes from, of course, boulder being for rock, but the term balderdash, spelled B-A-L-D-E-R, means something silly. And what's sillier than hair growing on a rock? So it just kind of worked so perfectly, and I can just imagine running around and be like, Boulder Dash, like an old man, and it's so good. And then for Bouldergeist, I am aware that the name exists in Mario canon, but never anywhere in Pokemon, and there's nothing saying that two medias can't share a name. Happens quite frequently, and it just works so good, being Bouldergeist. So Poltergeist, but with the rock boulder carried over from Boulder Dash, and I love it. And I thought, what would be cool if a rock died? So I imagine the top half just lifts off, and of course, like I said, the ghost mist just emanates from it, replacing the eyebrows, replacing the mustache with arms, because it doesn't have feet anymore, so it grows arms instead, and it just looks so creepy, and I love it entirely. Does it feel a little warm to you? Well, that's because we are getting into Delibird territory. You look confused. Ice type, you say? Oh no, not here. Delibird in these caves have also been corrupted, now being rock and fire type. No longer do they carry bags of presents, but instead cauldrons full of hot coals. They prefer to work in groups to further explore the deep caverns they call home. Local miners depend on the Delibird population to assist with larger jobs. Quite the helpful little birds, I'd like to say. Now, we must go into the deepest section of this cave, and I ask that you be very quiet. So I've always thought Delibird could use a little bit of help in not being terrible. And mind you, this was long before Scarlet and Violet had announced that they were doing a different form of Delibird. So I decided to go with a rock fire. Instead of presents, what would happen if they were like a coal miner, carrying giant cauldrons of heaping coals? And I even gave it a little bit of a fire emblem as a miner's helmet. And of course I used a reference for old miners with the bright orange and the blue overalls. And of course it's got the smudges all over it, the graying look of an old haggardly miner. I just love them so much. I really tried on this one, and I like the result. At this point, you've seen a few different Pokemon drawn into and corrupted by these caves, but what if I told you there are tales of something stronger being lured here? While I've never seen it myself, other researchers have claimed to see a different form of Heatran in the deep recesses of the cave system. What was that? Oh wow, it's true! Even legendary Pokemon can be corrupted by the blue crystal caves. Heatran, once covered in hot magma, now appears to be completely covered in a thick, poisonous substance. I have to assume it's able to climb around freely and poison anything it desires. I fear this regional variant has claimed these caves as its lair, and we would do well to get out as soon as possible. So as I was thinking about different Pokemon to use for this blue crystal caves, I really wanted a legendary, but I also again wanted to use a type combination that hasn't been used. And I know Heatran doesn't get a lot of love as it is, so I was like, he's perfect. We'll throw poison on him instead of fire. And this is what I came up with. Honestly, I really like the colors. I mean, I am slightly colorblind, so they might look very different to all of you, but to me, they look really cool. I've always just thought of like the classic 90s ooze looking thing they used in like, I don't know, a lot of different cartoon shows. And I made it just look a little bit tougher and meaner, and I just like to imagine it creeping out, dripping in the middle of the cave, and you see these little pools of acid, and I just love the idea of it. So this was my attempt at a new cave system with my idea of Pokemon not really having regional variants, but instead corruptions. And I really hope you enjoyed it. I don't know if I'll continue doing this sort of reveal video for my drawings. I know before they were more boring and just showing you what they were, and I want to do something a little more fun and mysterious with them. I really liked this idea, and I hope I can do something with it again, but who knows? I have a lot of things I'm already working on and trying to get done, so I never try to plan ahead too far. And I know this video is going to be a butt and a half to edit and get everything looking the way I want it to, and it probably still won't be as good as I really hope. So I really hope you all enjoy this. I am still drawing more Pokemon, Fakemon, regional variants, all that good stuff, fusions even. And I just, if you enjoy this, please leave a comment, leave a like, share this with other people. I would love for some real Pokemon YouTubers to see this and see my efforts. try to do what they do, but on a much smaller scale. See their opinions about it. I'd love to see that kind of stuff. But yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.